Hello, Comp 1 class. You guys have an outline for an editorial due Friday, June 23rd, and then you need to turn that outline into your editorial essay, and that essay is due Friday, June 30th. So what I'm going to do is give you an example of how I would like you to fill out the outline, and then I'll talk about all of the different resources that I'm going to have on Canvas for all of you. So, the editorial that you're going to be writing should be over an issue affecting your school or your town. And so, like I said, you need to focus on the outline that's due June 23rd, and then after you get the outline done, you'll turn that outline into an essay. So, this is argument writing, so you should be persuasive, you should be opinionated, but you should be opinionated based on facts. Think of the audience who you're writing this to. Are you writing it to a school board? You're writing it to a city council, to the mayor, to the superintendent? Are you writing a letter to the editor of your local newspaper and you want the town to see it? So think of your audience as you're writing this. The introduction needs an attention getter. And the topic I'm using is, I think Fall City High School needs a large engines class. All right, so you need some sort of attention getter. An attention getter could be a personal story. I think editorials, a personal story is really good. It could be a question, it could be a statistic, it could be a what if scenario. So think of something that grabs the reader's attention. For me, I went with a personal story. I would talk about how my high school, Nemaha Valley, teachers would get their cars, they would get an oil change for their cars, and the kids in the large engines class would learn how to do oil changes with the teachers' cars. So for the introduction, make sure you kind of answer these questions. Who does it affect? When is it happening? Where is it happening? My introduction, I'm going to introduce the topic. Fall City High School needs a large engines class. Your thesis is going to be really easy, okay? It's why this issue is a problem, the counter argument and rebuttal, and then solutions for the problem. So your Roman numeral 2 on the outline is why this issue is a problem. Now up here on the board, I just have just a little bit written out. People always ask me, how much do you want written on outlines? I don't want your entire paper written out on the outline. Like, your outline should not be in complete sentences, but I also don't want like one word, just one word phrases on your outline. I always say that it should be complete thoughts. Okay, so don't write complete sentences, but don't also write just one word things. Make it a complete thought, a complete phrase. All right, so in Roman numeral 2, I'm going to talk about why this issue is a problem. I have transition sentences and conclusion sentences in it. That way it helps with the flow of the paper. The need is crucial for future success. In 2019, there were over 701,000 jobs that dealt with mechanics. And then make sure in your outline, and this is what I probably grade the outline the most is, anytime you have a specific stat or fact or quote from someone, make sure you put in parentheses where you got it. If it has an author, put the author's last name. If it doesn't have an author, then put the first word of the title. This one did not have an author, so I put the first word of the title, Outlook, and then I put the page number that statistic was on, page 1. Mechanics can average between $38,000 and $63,000. I got that from the second page of that Outlook article. So we are not preparing students for the workforce. So this editorial should be a blend of statistics and facts, and then your opinions based on those facts. SEC has 9 majors that deal with jobs in the mechanic field. We have a lot of Fall City students that go to SEC. So we are not preparing students for college since we don't have a large engines class. My conclusion sentence, you can use transition words like, indeed, large engines should be a priority. So you can do that, or, what I'll show you here in just a second, the way I really like for students to transition is take the last word, or take a word from the last sentence in the previous paragraph and incorporate it into the first sentence of the next paragraph. So we talked about how large engines should be a priority, and then I transition by saying in this next paragraph that large engines is not a priority for some. And this is my counter argument and rebuttal. So in the counter argument and rebuttal, anticipate other people's questions. What are they? How are they going to question your topic? And a lot of times it's, how are you going to pay for it when it comes to like an editorial? So what I like to do is put the counter argument in A, B, C, D, and then put the rebuttal, why they're wrong or answering their questions, in the ones and the twos. So the first counter argument is there's no money for a large engines class. My rebuttal to that is we recently won the Monsanto grant, which was $25,000. And I got that from an article on our school website. It was written by Shelley Layden. And so I put Layden, and then I got that on page 1. Megan Robeson is our new curriculum director, and she writes grants for our schools. So she could write us a grant for a large engines class. The next counter argument, we don't have any space for a large engines class. Our school district could buy houses and make space. We have bought older houses near our different schools, and we've torn them down and turned them into parking lots and shot put fields and all sorts of things. So we could do that again. We could hire local contractors like Sacred Heart did when they built their Row Activity Center, and we could have local contractors help build our new building. Conclusion sentence, no more excuses on this topic. All right, so then we transition to the solutions part. Propose a solution, plan, or course of action that will solve, eliminate, or reduce the problem. It's hard to completely solve problems or eliminate problems, but you could at least reduce the problem. Proposal must be feasible, which means realistic. Proposal must be persuasive and supported with reasons and evidence. So my solutions, we need to turn these excuses into solutions. So like I said, I love transitioning, using a word from the last sentence of the previous paragraph and incorporating it into the first sentence of the next paragraph. We could partner with SEC's Learning Center. Recently, Fall City and SEC, they spent $1 million for an expansion, and they built a learning center north of town. And I got that from an article from the Fall City Journal by Brian McKim, and I found that on page 1 of that article. We could offer dual credit classes through Southeast out at that learning center. We could offer a large engines class here at Fall City. We could hire a certified teacher to teach it, and if we're not able to do that, we could work with local mechanics. We could send kids to our Ford dealership and our Chevy dealership, and they could learn to work on cars with local mechanics. Conclusion sentence, we can make this a reality. And then in the conclusion, always refer back to the attention getter. So my attention getter was talking about how my high school, the students worked on teachers' cars and gave them oil changes. So I could talk about how Fall City High School, the teachers here could get their cars serviced and an oil change. And then also you need in your conclusion with this type of writing is a call to action. And a call to action is telling the reader what they can specifically do to help with this topic. So I'm encouraging my readers to write to our superintendent, Tim Heckenlively, and to write to the school board and talk about their reasons why we need a large engines class. So let me talk about the resources that we have here. So I have the assignment for the outline on Canvas, and like I said, that outline is due Friday, June 23rd. I have the actual outline on here. Now here I just went A, B, A, B, A, B. The actual outline is A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D, and A, B, C, D. So if you're able to download this document and then write on it, that's great. Fill it out. People always ask, do you have to fill out all the letters and all the numbers? Yes, you do. You have to fill out all the letters and all the numbers. And then, if you're not able to download it or able to, write on the document, then, just type up a document that looks just like this, okay, with all the Roman numerals, with all the letters, and with all the numbers. Just make sure it looks like the outline that is on Canvas with the A, B, C, D in each section, okay? Another resource I put on there, I put this example outline on Canvas, so you can look at that. I also suggest that as you are filling out your outline, anytime you put a statistic or a fact on the outline, put in parentheses, where you got that source, and then take that source, that article, from a website, and put it in a works cited. So what I would do is I would start a document, call it works cited, and every time you put a statistic or a specific fact in this outline, you put that source in your works cited. And then that way, when you're done with the outline, you're also done with the works cited, then you can just put that works cited with the essay that's due the following week. So I included an example works cited on one of the modules in Canvas, so you can take a look at an example works cited. It should be an MLA. I also put an example argument writing essay. It's called Why Foreign Language Study Should Be Required. It's one of the books that we use in my classroom. It's just 2 pages, and it does a really good job of an introduction, problem, counter-argument and rebuttal, solutions, conclusion. It's just a really good example of argument writing. The outline is due Friday, June 23rd, and then after you turn that in, I'll grade them. I'll grade them as quickly as I can, and then that way you can turn your outline into your essay, and the editorial essay is due Friday, June 30th, and I have that assignment also on Canvas. For that, you will need at least 3 sources in your works cited. So when you're filling out your outline, make sure you're finding your information from at least 3 different sources. Make sure you're citing your sources on the outline. Make sure you cite your sources on the essay. You need at least 10 facts, statistics, ideas, or quotes quoted in your outline, and then those will turn into your in-text citations. So in your paper, you will have at least 10 in-text citations for your editorial. Okay. The editorial essay needs to be typed, double-spaced, 12-point Times New Roman, and it needs to be at least 3 full pages long. And like I said, the editorial essay is due Friday, June 30th. Another resource that I have on there, and it's a great one. It's an example. It's an example research paper. It shows MLA format. It shows how to write in-text citations correctly, since you need at least 10 of those in your paper. It shows you how to do introductions, a problem paragraph, counter-argument and rebuttal paragraph, a solutions paragraph, conclusion paragraph. It shows you how to write a works cited correctly. Remember, a works cited is on a separate page. It's alphabetical order. It stays double-spaced just like the rest of your paper. And anytime you go to a second or third line, you tab over. And then make sure that when you are writing your in-text citations in your paper, that it goes hand in hand with your works cited. That in-text citation should have either the author's last name, or if it doesn't have an author, then the first word of the title. And so that's how I grade these editorials. I'll look at your in-text citation, and then I'll see like the author's last name or the first word of the title, and I'll flip back to the works cited, and if I find it, I'm happy. You're going to get a good grade. If I can't find it in the works cited, then you're going to lose some points off that. So make sure your works cited and your in-text citations go hand in hand. If you look at this example one over climate change, it's a great example. Make sure you make sure your paper looks like that paper. Another resource, I made sure that I also included some examples of in-text citations, and once again, it's in-text citations that match up with the source from a works cited, and there are two different sides of that. So, all right, so I think that's it. Like I said, your outline's due Friday, June 23rd. Make sure you get that turned in, and then I will grade those right away, and then you'll turn the outline into your essay. Your introduction, basically your Roman numeral 1 stuff will be your first paragraph. Your Roman numeral 2 stuff, defining the problem, that will probably be a couple of paragraphs. Your counter argument and rebuttal could be a paragraph or two. The solutions could be a paragraph or two, and then the conclusion would be the final paragraph. So if you have any questions, you can send me a message on Canvas or send me an email. So please, if you have any questions, just let me know, and I'll be happy to help. Thank you.